Hello everybody, Allgoofer here, and welcome back to episode 6 of my Let's Build series here on my Bedrock survival world. Whoops, wrong button. So last episode, and the episodes previous to that, we've built up kind of this dock area. So a few episodes ago, we built up the gatehouse up there, and that fort over there, and then this big platform here. And then last episode, we built up these wooden docks all going down here, as well as some of these cranes and some warehouses and whatnot. And I also just built this house here, which, let me give it a cooler reveal. You ready for this? Bam! Look at that street view. Oh, it's so amazing. I love the way we've got our city walls and the gatehouse and the fort just towering over top of these pretty decent sized houses down here on the docks. I think it looks so good. So let's talk about this build real quick. So this guy here, I originally did not know what I wanted the purpose of this building to be. I just knew I wanted a building here, and I figured I'd come up with a purpose for this as I was building it. And well, sure enough, I did. The purpose of this building here is I've decided it's actually going to be an inn, right? The docks need an inn for when ships come and unload their cargo and they don't set sail maybe for the next day or another few days. The sailors or pirates are gonna need a place to stay. A little shabby kind of inn here, which I think looks really nice. I've gone a little bit crazy on these overpass kind of things, these guys right here, right? So I kind of connected these buildings via this little overpass, which is also the entrance into our inn, which, as to no surprise of any of you guys who've watched my earlier episodes, I don't really do interior. We'll just leave the doors closed for now. Anyway, this is an inn here. As you can see, I've kind of brought this in a little more in style of what's going to be going on in my city with kind of these block pallets. And then I've also brought some brick and jungle wood in on a few of these smaller roofs because I really like the pop of color that they bring to the whole area, and they kind of look shabby and donkey. Yeah, that's it. They look docky. And if we just come under this underpass here, you'll see I've also made another underpass over here. This was kind of just an impulsive decision here on this underpass. I just thought something, it's not that I thought that something needed to be here, I just thought something could be here, and I was struggling to tell what, because there wasn't a ton of room here between our ramp and the inn. And so I just thought, hey, we've got an underpass here, we've got an underpass there, let's make another one. And I really like the way that these look. They really make this area look not only busy, they just kind of help connect everything, right? This is just a warehouse and this is an inn, yet they're somewhat connected by this here underpass. And I really just like the look of it. So I've done another one over here, although this one's kind of got two. I've never done something like this before. Oh hey, it's my favorite person in the whole wide world. As you can see, the inn is connected to this nice stone underpass kind of thing that connects to our big stone platform. And we've got two openings here at the bottom, right? One to access our ramp. So when we're coming at it from this side, we kind of have to go under this little underpass here and then circle around, and now we're kind of in the dock area, where we could either go this way straight onto the pier, or we could go this direction, which I still haven't really decided what I want to put over here, right? but it'll lead us to various different things. We could go this way, which will take us to some of our warehouse openings. We'll have a bit of a road going through here, which will take us to the market district, which is this blue wool, and these two buildings as well. But I just kind of wanted to show you guys where we are right now, and I think this looks pretty epic, especially from this far view. I absolutely love this view. Not only just the inn, the warehouses, and the docks and whatnot, I think it looks really nice, but also just that backdrop, right? Sight lines are so important, and I think this is just a really nice sight line. I also added this crane up here. As I said, I was probably going to do this, having a little area where we can kind of just store stuff here. It looks like a black sheep has fallen from my cliffs. Interesting, that is. Anyway, I said that I was going to kind of set this area up as a way to quickly get heavy loads of cargo up onto our big stone platform here that leads to the gatehouse to get into the city, because this would be quite a long ramp to haul all this kind of heavy stuff up. So I kind of just set up a little makeshift storage kind of area where stuff as needed would be hauled up there for whatever purposes the city needed it for, right? But we got a little cart here. We've got some copper and some barrels. We got a little table with a piece of copper. We got some copper pile right here with some barrels and some lumber. So just various things that the city might need. And then we've got our crane here, and I've added just this little hook. Not entirely sure I love it, but you can only do so much with Minecraft. I think it looks like a hook though, and it looks decent enough. I just think it's a little large in proportion to our crane, but I think it works. And then we've got a little area here where we can load and offload whatever stuff we needed to. So yeah, just wanted to fill this area in, and I think that works pretty well. I had planned to complete, maybe, if I was ambitious enough, to maybe complete this entire dock area. And I still plan on doing that. So we might be kind of going through this a little bit fast. We'll kind of just see how it goes. I'm really hoping I can complete all of this in a timely manner. So now that I've kind of got this whole stretch here finished off, and I think it's looking pretty good. Could use still some more stuff and details and whatnot, but I often just kind of add some little things as I continue building up other stuff. And when I come back through here, I'll notice something that maybe could use something or maybe couldn't use something, and I'll fix it. But for the most part, I think this area is looking quite nice and complete. So I want to move on now to this area. I want to build up this tower here, as well as this warehouse and this warehouse. And then I'll probably just continue on with the road, connecting it right to our little dock staircase right here, and then just keep building up some of these other houses and warehouses and shops and this little gatehouse here for the castle. I've got a lot of building here on my plate, so I don't want to waste any more time with talking, as I can ramble sometimes. So let's just immediately jump into building up these two warehouses here. Okay, so I've done a few things, and also I've done a few other things. Let's start with the dock, shall we? So here, like I said, I wanted to build up this warehouse and that warehouse, and completed. Looks great, right? A little bland, interior is very poor, is what it is for now. I can always go through and make some of these things look a little better, but I really like the look of this, having this warehouse here as well as that warehouse there and that tower behind it. And again, I think we've got a really nice sight line of you know, our city and walls and whatnot back there. So obviously, a few seconds ago, from what you guys saw, I used to have a bit of a wall here with an underpass, much like kind of this one or that one. But I got rid of it. I thought it was too many, and I think, in general, I think this looks better having gotten rid of that, because it was just too many connected buildings. I got rid of that and added this instead, a different underpass, more castle-y looking, because I wanted to separate this area, right, which is all warehouses as well as an inn, from this area, which I think is gonna be more house-based and whatnot, right? So I've got a little bit of a house marked out here, another small house marked out here, and then another small house marked out here. None of this is final or for sure. This is just kind of my thoughts as I build. I consistently change my mind on things that I have marked out or things that I've built. Like this up here. You might notice that before, this tower here was very similar to this tower here. And I didn't really love that looking down here. I still thought it looked cool, but I didn't love being able to see. It almost looked kind of repetitive because, right, that building is identical, or that tower is identical to that tower. And that tower was identical to that tower. And I thought it looked good, but I thought I could do better. So I did change this up a little bit, as you can see. Well, not just a little bit, but kind of a lot of bit. I also raised this up a few blocks so that now it's a bit of a balcony, whereas before it was level with the ground here. So a little bit of change there, just trying to make these sight lines look as good as I can, and I think this looks better, so I'm quite happy with this. But you know, things could change. But yeah, I built this warehouse up here. So pretty simple, a wooden warehouse. Like I said, it was gonna be with, I did this brick and jungle wood roof again because I really like the look of that. I think it looks quite nice. And then I did this warehouse here, which is more stone based with a dark oak roof, as well as a little tower here on the end, and then having this wall attached to the tower with another nice underpass that's kind of gonna lead us from this district to a different type district over here. I think this is looking pretty cool so far, and I really want to just continue building. So again, I'm just going to kind of shotgun through this pretty fast, I think, as we have a lot of stuff to build here, and I don't really want to go in detail with each building. So I'm going to try and take a couple buildings at a time between each segment, and then maybe we'll talk about them and I'll just show you guys progress updates. But if I want to complete all of this episode, I really need to just bust this out, do my best to not dilly-dally. So I think from here, I'm going to move on to this building here and that building there. Not to be confused by this small building attached to this building and this small building attached to this building. Though these are all connected in wool, these will all be different buildings. So I hope you guys can kind of see that. But I think I want to take in this building and then build up this market district as well as this road leading up that way. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to building this. You can see this is really, I think, starting to come along nicely. I brought a little gatehouse in here, right, which is going to be attached to our kind of traders guild kind of a thing right here, sort of trading company, right? And then having this kind of just very structured build that kind of brings us in style with what we've got going for our backdrop, right? The fort and the walls. I think that looks really good, even to bring that here up onto the docks. And then it really helps set this street up here, as well as set this street up, right, going sideways here. I think that slight diagonal just plays perfectly off of both these streets and turned out really nice. And in here we've got our kind of shopping district area, right? So we've got a little house here. Don't really know what the business would be, as well as this one here. Again, maybe trading companies, maybe shops and whatnot. And then of course we got all these market stands down here, which are kind of just selling random things, right? We got flowers, we got barrels, so we can be creative with what we want that one to be. We got fruits and pumpkins here. And then for this guy, I decided, because I just had this tile on me, because I used it for the roof as well, I just figured this shop could be selling tiles of some sort. And then maybe that's what this chimney here is on the end, is where they'd kind of smelt down their bricks and whatnot. So I thought that was kind of cool. Brought in a little moss wall here just to bring it a little bit of color in here, but kind of a dark color. The moss, I think, looks great for that. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna build this building here next, the trading company with its warehouse, and then I'll probably just move along this way to building up this gatehouse, which will go into the castle. It'll probably look somewhat similar to something like that. Finally, I'll move into this area, building up a few houses in the road and other little details that would be around this area. So that's exciting. I'm getting close, and I'm just gonna keep cracking away at this right here. But first, I need to go get a bunch of tuff, as I am running very low. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so we're back here on the docks of Enoch, and I've got a little bit more progress here to update you guys on. I think I finally got something I'm pretty happy with here for the trading guild kind of empire thing. I don't entirely know what that means, but it's some sort of a trading company, right? So they've got a nice big stand here out front. I haven't actually decided what I want this trading company to sell. I was thinking maybe I'll just get a bunch of kind of different colored banners, and they can be kind of fabrics and stuff like that, because I think that would have done well in these times. So maybe I'll do that. But just a pretty basic house here, and then we've got our warehouse here, which granted doesn't look great from this side, because I wanted to leave it kind of bland, as it's just a warehouse. I just wanted to make it look kind of messy. But it does look very bland and flat, which I think looks good actually, at least more or less on the other side. It's where the warehouse kind of opens up and stuff, but I'll show you around this way first. I think this is looking really nice. So it just connects nicely here to our little gatehouse that we just made, and then we can go around this side, and it attaches like that, and I think that looks really cool. Now let me show you from the dock's perspective, and I think it's looking pretty nice. And then here you can see they've got their own small little crane yard and loading dock for when their shipments would arrive or leave to go to other places. They could quickly unload or load the boats right here. As well as I added into our warehouse just a little bit of a small kind of lift coming here out of the roof, and then a little loading dock. Now, I haven't done the interior of this, but I will do the interior on this one, because I do have, you know, it's open here on the front so you can see into it. So I definitely want to do the interior. But also, when you go far enough back, the trapdoors will disappear. There we go. And you can see right inside. So I do want to fill that space with an interior so that when stuff does disappear, it doesn't just look like empty space. And then here below the lift, we've got a little bit of a loading dock here so that they could load stuff, maybe some of the heavier stuff, into the loft area of the warehouse instead of it being down here. That's kind of my thought. I think this is starting to come along nicely. I'm going to continue on here with the gatehouse, which should be pretty simple. I've got all the materials for this, but I am going to have to go restock on quite a bit of materials as I've just been blowing through stuff. Materials like brick and materials like this mushroom stem, dark oak wood. I never thought I'd see the end of my never-ending stash of it, but it's starting to dwindle too. Luckily, I've got a bunch of dark oak around me. It's just a matter of going out and mining it. Pretty much I've got all the wood I'll need around me, and then I just planted these jungle trees here as my jungle wood is starting to dwindle as well. So I just need to kind of restock on a bunch of different various types of blocks. Mud is another one. Still have a little bit of mud left, but not a ton. And I still need to fill in, of course, this whole area with mud roads. So I think I'm probably gonna have to restock on mud as well. I don't think I have enough to finish this. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and build this small gatehouse up. Shouldn't take me long at all. Oh yeah, and something cool that I forgot to mention while I was building this up in between days, when I hopped back on the next day, Jack left me a little heart out of snow. So that's pretty cool. I think maybe he likes the docks. And just like that, we have a simple gatehouse here that will connect us to our castle section of the dock area. And then the gatehouse itself will connect directly to the castle, which will start about here. Now, I'm just going to leave it like this until I figure out where it connects. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, I need to go gather up a bunch of resources so that I can work on this area over here. So we're getting really close. This is kind of the last stretch of what I want to complete in this video anyway. And this will pretty much complete our dock area. So we just have 3 more buildings to build here, a road, and of course details and whatnot throughout here. This is going to be where the castle is, so we won't do any of that right now. You just need to finish up this area. Okay, so at the moment I am on a journey to try and find a mangrove swamp. Now, the truth is, I found a few in the past before, but because this map is so old, they're about 10,000 blocks out, and I have screenshots of the coordinates of them, because of course I'm looking for mud at the moment. And I just figured I'd travel in this direction until I found one. So hopefully that won't be too long. And whoa, look at that. There's literally a pirate ship here, a full intact pirate ship here. Well, I don't know if they're pirates, but there's a boat here. This is kind of cool, stuck in an iceberg completely. Oh, there's not even a chest? Oh yeah, there's a chest. Pretty much just a bunch of garbage, although why not take the wheat, right? I'm gonna have to turn this into packed mud, so I'm gonna need a bunch of wheat anyway, so we'll take the wheat. Let's see what else there is. A treasure map. You see, I'm not desperate for treasure, so I'm gonna leave that. I've got more than enough stuff. Come on. There we go. Nice. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna travel out in this direction until I hopefully come across a mangrove swamp. I'm really hoping it won't take too long, but I've got a ton of rockets here to get me there and back, hopefully. Ah yes, I only had to travel out almost 20,000 blocks, but I finally found a mangrove swamp. Yeah, it would have been a lot faster had I actually just gone to the one where I already knew where it was. But this is okay. Now we know where another one is. And is it just me, or is this one like super small? It is. This is a absolute tiny mangrove swamp. Wow, that kind of sucks. But regardless of the size, it does have mud, which is what I'm here for. And I think actually for one of the houses that I'm going to build on the docks, I might use the strip mangrove log, which I have a little bit of. But while I'm here, I may as well grab just a ton of that as well. We are on the home stretch, and what did I learn from that trip? Well, I reaffirmed my belief that I absolutely hate mining mangrove wood. Like, absolutely hate it. As you can see, I didn't actually even gather that much. I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I've had it. And whoa. That is quite the village. If I've ever seen one. That is quite the village. Anyway, we must not get distracted. I'm on the home stretch here. Yeah, my shovel's not doing so well. My wings are also not doing so well. But the rest of my inventory is doing pretty well. I'm excited to get back. I'm excited to finish building this project. It's been so long. It's taken me so long to build this. And I'm just really excited to have it almost finished. And I think I've got all the materials now that I'm gonna need to finish it. And here we are. Oh, it feels so good to be home. That was a much longer trip than I had originally expected. I didn't think it would take me that long to find a mangrove swamp. Being that this is kind of a new area for me, so I don't think out the direction I went, which is that direction, I don't think I've really generated much land out that way. But you know, 20,000 blocks later and we finally found a mangrove swamp, so I might be wrong about that. Of course, Jack is on the server too, so who knows where he explored. Anyway, I'm happy we found a swamp and I'm happy to be back, and I'm really excited to finish this here dock project. So let's not even waste any time. Let's just finish it right out. Okay guys, and we are back. So I think I have finished this whole portion of the docks. And not 100%, of course, as like right now I'm just kind of walking around seeing what could use maybe some lanterns and maybe some flowers just to add some color to the area. But I think for the most part I am done. And oh, this is kind of cool. She added this a little while ago, but I tried to make like a little sailboat here up on top with like the crane. Maybe it lifts it up or down into the water, I don't know, but it's just a little sailboat. So I thought that was cool. Areas like this, I feel like can always constantly need updating, and you can never really add enough stuff because you don't think about a lot of the stuff that you could add until you have it in your inventory and you're like, oh, this could actually go down on the dock somewhere. So I've kind of got the basics down, mostly just barrel spam, because when in doubt, barrels out. That's what I always say, and I love the look of barrels. And copper, of course. I kind of copper spam a lot too, but it's a little more expensive. Anyway, let's talk about what I did do. So if we come this way, and if we kill this guy, alright, so in here we've got the portion of the docks that I was finishing last, right? The kind of the house district area is I was calling it. We walk under this little underpass here, and we're met with a little house. No big deal, just a house. Some more kind of detailed things I added, you know, vines growing up the wall with some plants and stuff. Of course, barrel spam everywhere where barrels can go. We should put barrels. This alleyway, of course, kind of connects us over into the shopping district, right? That's what we built up last. And then this area, I think turned out pretty well, although I'm not a huge fan at the moment of that nice big gap between this house and that house. That gap is kind of, yeah. So I've kind of started to mark out whereabouts the castle I think is going to go. So I wanted to make sure that that was going to get covered because it looks terrible. I might even start working on the castle sooner than I expected. Certainly not in this episode. I've built enough. I'm ready to have a little bit of a break before I start working on my next episode. But in my next episode, I actually might start to construct some of the castle. I definitely don't want to commit to finishing the castle because it's going to be a huge project. Kind of just want to build it up bits at a time because it's going to be so large, and it might just, in my mind, it kind of makes sense to just build segments and sections of the castle up depending on where I'm working. So because I was working in this area and I hate this gap in here, it makes the whole place look unfinished. I might kind of fill this bit in and then maybe do some more planning out on how I want the castle to go. I still don't really know how I want to build the castle yet. So sometimes you just got to start with something like this. Like, I know this is where the castle is going to go, so let's just put a wall here and make it somewhat of a building or a wing coming off of the castle, and then we'll see what it turns into. But yeah, this area I think is looking pretty nice. As you can see, I did use the mangrove wood on this house, and I think it looks really nice, giving it a little bit of that red tint, but still kind of has a darker feel to it. Dark is what I'm looking for. If you'll recall, Berserk, the animated series, is kind of the style I'm going for this whole city. It's very dark and very medieval with a hint of fantasy, which I really like. That's kind of what I'm going for. But again, we've just got these really cool sight lines when you feel kind of deep here in the docks and you look up and you know there's balconies, so you know you can get up there, and then we've got towers, and it kind of just makes you want to explore a little bit. You can kind of see that tower peeking up in the distance. Look at that, I'm levitating now. So you can see, yeah, it just feels cool to walk around in these streets. This is kind of what I want the city to feel like too, except I want the buildings to come much taller. Most of these buildings are pretty, I don't know, average size, maybe a little small. And I think that looks good for the dock portion. But this is kind of just foreshadowing a tiny bit of what the city's going to feel like when you're inside of it, with buildings much taller than even these ones that will just tower over you as you roam the streets of the city. For the most part, I think this is pretty done and pretty decorated. As you can see, we've got this little alleyway that kind of brings us under this house a little bit and will take us over here. this is where this wall is going to somehow come over here and connect to the castle, however that turns out. So I've only built it out to here for now, and I thought that was fine. This might end up just stopping here with another building connecting it as just kind of a cool little hole in here, I guess. Maybe thieves hang out in here, or maybe there could be a way to get down into this area all under our docks. I could do something under here as well. That would be pretty cool. Kind of a thieves guild hangout. And over here, we've got just another house. Originally, I kind of wanted to make this a stables, but I kind of just turned it into a warehouse. It could double as a stables. I think I put hay in here. It's all dirt mostly. I could even section some of these areas off with some fence and make like stalls. Because I figure I've got all these carts and wagons and whatnot about that, you know, you need to hook up horses to drag them around the docks or up to the city and whatnot. So at first it kind of seems weird, a stables on a dock. At least in my mind, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think it works with some of the details that we're adding on our docks. We have a lot of what would have been horse or ox drawn wagons and carriages and whatnot. Love all of the different roofs we've got going on in here and different high points, right? When you kind of look at it from a level side, you've got a lot of towers that you can see, that gatehouse tower in the back there, and then this front gatehouse and its two towers, that tower connected to that warehouse. And then of course all the roofs as well are at different heights, and for the most part using different materials, which really makes the place look busy and medieval, I think. When we get a nice top-down view of it, you can kind of get a better feel of the streets and where like how the city operates as far as where traffic would run through the city. In Minecraft, this is probably one of my biggest hurdles that I had to figure out in building. And I'm not going to say necessarily that one way's right and one way's wrong, but before, when I would construct cities and stuff, I had a really hard time connecting buildings and making them look distinct from each other, but having connected buildings, right? Like if we look here, where this wall comes off of our ramp and connects to this tower, right? All this whole line connects to this tower, connects here, connects to this trading company, and then connects to this warehouse at the very end. These are all connected, and I think that looks really good, and it really helps give your streets a nice flow when you can learn to connect your buildings like that. Before, when I built, and this isn't going to be a great example, but like say these two buildings here, and I did this on purpose. Not all buildings need to be connected. Of course, you need to have a fine line between constructing your cities and what's going to make sense and where you want the flow of traffic kind of to go. But when we look at these buildings here, right, they're not connected. This is how I always built each of my individual buildings when I built a city. And it just left you with kind of a grid pattern, right? Each building kind of was on its own lot of land, right? And then you'd have, of course, a street to fill in the sides and back of each building. And it was kind of just like a big grid pattern. You could just walk straight through kind of between each building and around. It took me quite a while to learn connecting the buildings gives you a flow of traffic, right? So now, because let's say, you know, these two buildings are connected, I can't just walk between these two buildings to get to this side. It forces the player to have to find a way around, which makes exploring cities, I think, so much funner, right? You have to find a way around, either this way, or you go all the way around this way and you go under here, rather than just being able to walk straight through. And of course, there's a lot to learn with this, because then you're getting into how you want the flow of traffic to run in your city, and that's where sightlines and stuff come in, right? You look at the end of a street, your eye catches something and goes, oh wow, that's really big and grand up there. I want to go find a way to get there. And then you go make your way finding a way to get there. And so kind of all your buildings and your streets and your sightlines have to work coherently with each other in order for this to work, right? I can't just walk straight up there. I've made it so that I have to come all the way around these buildings, right? And then I have to come under here, wrap myself around, and go up here, and then wrap myself around until I'm up here where I wanted to go. And at the moment, this is kind of the only sight line, right? We do have our fort when we walk through over here, right? Which we haven't done any work on the city at all. But you know, eventually you'll come through these gates and maybe you'll see the church over here somewhere, and you'll see that its big steeple popping up, and it'll be a nice, cool sight line. You're gonna go, oh, I want to go that direction. Or you'll turn this way and you'll see maybe the top of the fort, because some of this will be blocked off with buildings and stuff, and you'll go, oh, that's a cool build, I want to walk over that way. Anyway, I'm rambling. Just kind of some tips I think I've learned throughout a long time of building cities in Minecraft, medieval cities that is. And these are tips and stuff that I would have liked to have known way long ago, before I wasted my time. I mean, time wasn't wasted, right? It's all a learning experience, but I definitely had a lot of trial and error in how to construct cities. And then I'd see other people's cities online on YouTube and stuff, and I'd go like, why don't my cities look like that? And that was probably the main thing, the main thing of it was just finding a way to connect buildings and then give them different textures and you know, like this is a stone building and this is a wood building. And you can tell, even though they're connected, that those are definitely two different buildings. And then the same goes with this tower coming off of this. Like, though they are connected, your eye looks at that and says, okay, this looks different than those two. This isn't a part of those two. It's a separate building. But yet there's no gap in the side of it that I can just walk through to the other side. So I hope that makes some sense, at least. But anyway, I think this is probably gonna wrap it up for me in this episode. I've done all I wanted to do, and I feel very accomplished with the work that I've done here. Watching this and you made it this far and you haven't liked, please like the video. I really appreciate that. And also, if you're not subscribed, I really appreciate subscribers. Right? I'm not stopping here. This whole city is just gonna keep growing and growing and getting bigger. This is just the dock portions. But next episode, now that we're finally finished with the dock portions here, we're, I think, gonna start moving into working on some of the actual city, which is really exciting. I'm super excited to, you know, kind of fill this entryway here into the gatehouse and make this look nice. And then we'll kind of just figure out where we're gonna go from there. Again, I might start building some of the castle up, at least in sections, segment by segment, as I kind of build my way up to that area. There's just so much work here to do, and if you guys don't want to miss out on it, please hit that subscribe button and you won't miss out on it. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.